Tonight we'll be meeting some of the world's future doctors, engineers, and scientists. Through a hands-on program, it's hoped that the employment gap within the STEM field in New Jersey comes to a close, especially as the organization expands to the state's largest school district. Here's more. These high school and middle school students hard at work in their lab coats are a step closer to becoming scientific scholars. For nearly a decade, Students to Science, or S2S participants, have been able to engage in experiments in a facility outside of the classroom.
This program really has kind of changed who I am as a person. S2S is kind of my home away from home. Whenever I come home from school, I always come to S2S. I always like to see everyone around here. I love coming into the lab days.
Before starting S2S, Dr. Paul Winslow earned his PhD in organic chemistry and had since spent decades within the industry. Its flagship location opened 9 years ago in East Hanover, New Jersey, as a program he described as, quote, the grandparent program. Students would learn what it was like to be a scientist and would then be sent off to school where they'd hope to be turned on to the subject.
I believe we as adults sometimes lose sight of why we do what we do. And when you look at the education and the reform that people want in education, it tends to get more political than, performance-based. Here, we focus 100% on the students.
Because in a classroom, you're like one of maybe 50 people, but here, you're in a small group, maybe 9 people at most, and you get that one-on-one contact, which is amazing.
Students to Science's 3-part national model highlights its ISAAC program, which stands for Improving Student Affinity and Aptitude for Careers in STEM. This is when students work alongside practicing and retired scientists hands-on in project-based learning. This model also consists of Virtual Lab, or VLab program, where students who can't make it to the lab still learn visually. The third leg of this S2S model is its professional development services, where middle and high school teachers can observe or serve as an assistant instructor. Just one day of this can count for 6 hours of professional development for a year. Earlier in May, Students to Science officially opened its second location in Newark, where even more teachers and students can take advantage of these services.
It makes me really proud. Being in science education for 13 years, close to 13 years, I haven't seen anything like this. And so to be able to expose kids as young as 11 years old in 6th grade to something like this is huge.
Newark, New Jersey is leading, and this incredible program under extraordinary leadership with a community of commitment. Our great industry leaders in this city, our great business leaders in this city, our great higher ed leaders in this city, our great K-12 leaders in this city, all of us coming together to do the best thing to secure a great future, which is empower the genius of our children.
Newark native Noma Say participated in the program in high school when only the East Hanover location was open. Ecstatic is the word he uses to describe how he felt upon hearing about the Newark location opening.
Even if they don't want to go into the STEM field, if you want to remove yourself from situations that you know is not going to be best for you, this is an opportunity for that. The same way people play basketball 24/7 so they won't have to be on the street a lot. I don't see why this cannot be a safe haven for people who are in that situation.
City students will also be connected with Newark-based PSE&G, a corporate sponsor with the program.
Newark-based or anywhere in New Jersey, local kids that rise up and, really recruiting from within the state that we serve.
For Noma Say, who tells us he's seen how a lack of extracurricular activities impacts students in Newark, he says it will hopefully bring out more doctors from the city.
Newark is good for that. We've graduated multiple world-known athletes, stuff like that. But we're yet to get a scientist or a doctor from here. And the fact that they've placed this lab in the heart of Newark, right, it doesn't take away, it actually adds to the fact that there's no excuse now for you not to better yourself and uplift yourself.
He hopes to be an example for students in Newark. As for Dr. Winslow, when seeing the success the program has brought to students in the past 9 years, he says,
A touchdown. That's the objective. That's what we want them to see. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I really want to do a bad job today. Nobody goes to school and says, I think I really want to fail that test today. Okay? Nobody wants to not graduate, not get a good job, and not be able to participate in some of the finer things, right?
So I feel as though this position that I'm in right now, I should use it to try to influence other kids, to try to see what else they can do other than the norm.
While women make up for 48% of the workforce, they make up for less than a quarter of the STEM field, according to the Economic Statistics Association. Programs like these are hoped to encourage young girls to partake in a field they're less represented in.
I don't see as much of that push in other fields, so I think it's nice to kind of see it working here, and this is part of the movement, obviously, and how it can be applied to other places as well.
And it has hopes for spreading nationally. Harrison is one of the program's many interns and credits the program for turning him on to microbiology.
I hope every student has access to this program, not only because of what it's done for me, but because of what I can see it doing for other people.
I hope that S2S kind of goes global. I really hope that this this foundation and this project and this vision, everyone from across the country, across the world can see how much of an impact one lab experiment can have on a person. I've definitely seen lives changed. I've definitely seen people really show their love for science.
In the program's near decade of operation, Dr. Winslow says communities in other states have reached out to him. Along with building up new labs, the many translations of its virtual labs can make it just a bit easier to grow even more.
It's really endless into where it could go. With our virtual laboratory program and with the technology that we use and our ability to offer that in 200 spoken languages, global is not out of the question at all.